5. I don't have my original case for Tales of Destiny though, because that friend of mine, like I said, who's no longer with us, he thought it'd be funny to get a electric screwdriver and write and just destroy the original case to my Tales of Destiny. He thought it'd be funny. I actually have Tales of Destiny 2 as well, or Tales of Eternia, as it's more commonly known to the rest of the world that isn't stupid. Suikoden 2. Although my Suikoden 2 disc does not work. It's warped from heat. There was a fire a couple years ago, and I had a case full of games, and luckily it was my least full case. It only had about 6 games in it, and it was most of the games were replaceable. It was things like Resident Evil 3, and let's see what else was in there. So we get in Rayman was in there. I want to say Kalana. I can't remember what else was in there. It's been a long time. Well, I threw all the other games away, and I still have the disc for that. It does not work though. But I own it, and the day that Konami releases that game on the PlayStation Network will be the day I go. I quietly get up, leave, regardless of whatever I'm doing. I will hop a plane to Japan. I will go and I will high five all of Konami, like all at once, forever. Be like, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Persona Revelations, I own that. If you've never played Persona Revelations, you should play it sometime, or at least look up the some of the stuff they did to edit the game. Like they made everyone white, except for one guy. They turned this dude from like Japanese to the token black guy, and it is hilarious. Lunar Silver Star Story is one of the best. It's a very simple game, but the production that Working Designs put into this game makes it one of the better experiences I had on the PlayStation. If you've never played Lunar the Silver Star Story, well, you are missing out. Lunar Eternal Blue was okay. Front Mission 3 was lots of fun. Vandal Hearts, I'm not really going to go into because of the fact that I spent an entire 100 videos talking about how awesome it was. So, Dragon Quest VII I did not own back in the day. I bought that recently, about a year ago. Well, a little longer now. I bought it with one of my last paychecks for a job I no longer have. Tactics Ogre, I bought that. I don't remember when. I actually owned Tactics Ogre, and go down a little further. Ogre Battle, yes. Although the Ogre Battle does not work. It's cracked. It's got its original case, though. Let's see. Tactics Ogre works fine, though. Let's see. Resident Evil DualShock version. Valkyrie Profile. That game is like... Valkyrie Profile. I've never gotten the good ending on Valkyrie Profile. I need to go back and do that. Grandia. Grandia is a spectacular game. It's on the PlayStation Network. If you have a PS3 or a PSP, you should probably go and buy it. It is a good, solid, fun, happy, chipper, great game. It is probably one of the most cliched games ever. Okay? Like, just go to TV tropes and look up like anime tropes, and every single one of them will be in that game. But it's a really fun game. It's got a skill system in it similar to like the weapon system that was in like Dragon Quest VIII. It's lots of fun. I, of course, have all the Final Fantasy games. I have Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, Anthology, Chronicles. Like I said, and I have like this deep-seated hatred of Final Fantasy 4 or 2 because of that. I didn't play. I don't know if I said this earlier, but I meant to. I didn't play Final Fantasy games back in my Super Nintendo days. My first contact with Final Fantasy was 7. I had played the original Final Fantasy before, but I didn't really understand it. It wasn't I don't think the original Final Fantasy was as accessible as Final Fantasies 2 and 3 were on the Super Nintendo, which is understandable, but because it's entirely different generation of games. But my first actual contact with Cecil and crew was the Final Fantasy IV released on the PlayStation, which, as you may know, is hard type. So, like I said, I have a deep-seated hatred for the game because that game is unfair. And I actually didn't beat it until it was released on the Game Boy Advance. And the reason being, and my favorite version of the game is the Game Boy Advance version, hands down, because it is a nice mixture of the original game and it's updated text, updated spell names, uh, updated everything. And then it's not as easy as the Super Nintendo version, which I went back and played, although I didn't beat. It was like I played hard type for so long. The Super Nintendo version was too easy, so I lost interest. So I kind of ruined myself on that. But it wasn't as hard as the hard type. It was this nice little middle ground. And then of course you got the bonus dungeons and stuff like that. That was cool. Chrono Trigger. Didn't play Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo either. Didn't know the game existed. I actually didn't play Chrono Trigger until after I had beaten Chrono Cross. Played Chrono Cross, found out that there was a prequel, and then that's what actually prompted me to buy Chronicles when it came out. Incidentally, my favorite Final Fantasy game would be 5, specifically because of the job class system. Story-wise, 5 and 9 I would say are tied. PlayStation era, definitely 9. Super Nintendo era probably would have to say 5. NES era, I don't really have a favorite due to the fact that I didn't really play any of them. Chrono Trigger. Legend of Legaia is a wonderful game if you've never played it. Vagrant Story. Xenogears, another game I bought on a pure whim, and I'm so glad I did. The game is so awesome. Even though the second disc is kind of a letdown, the first disc totally makes up for it. Kind of upsetting that Xenosaga was overall kind of so disappointing in comparison. Alundra, you know about Alundra. Brave Fencer Musashi. Grand Stream Saga. Grand Stream Saga is weird. It's just a weird little game. Guardians Crusade is a surprisingly good game. If you've never seen it, you play as this little boy in blue armor. In Japan, it's called Knight and Baby. You play as this little boy in blue armor. He has a little fairy companion, and you end up finding this baby pink marshmallow thing, and named Baby, and you call it Baby, and hence the name Knight and Baby. And you go around looking for where Baby came from. And Knight fights alone, except for Baby. And he has the ability to summon living toys, and the living toys act as his spells. And it's a surprisingly good game. I have Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. I actually got that from a GameStop employee friend of mine when they pennied out the games. I was incredibly happy. Let's see, Threads of Fate. I have Command & Conquer and Command & Conquer. Although, I think only my nod disc works for Command & Conquer. And Red Alert Retaliation. If you didn't grow up with a PC like I didn't grow up with a computer, okay? I grew up with consoles. Okay, if you had 2 PlayStations and a link cable and Red Alert Retaliation and a buddy to play with, it was amazing. It was superb. It was sublime. Sublime. Let's get into the PlayStation area. here because this is like going really long. But I don't care.